as we are going ahead in time, we are in an era where anything and everything is being weaponized as part of new concept of informal wars, whether it is the oil, energy, or even the swift mode of transferring money, grains, fertilizers, water, climate, or anything and everything. There is no hard component or soft component which is not having the potential of getting weaponized or which is not being weaponized, so to say. So today we are actually starting our new series within our larger series, and this series is related to the various facets of informal warfare. And we are grateful to Dr. Nishakant Ojha, who is there with us today. We will be speaking on the climate change and its interlinkages with the national security implications. Before taking much of your time, I would request Tokas to introduce the speaker and then Dr. Ojha to deliver.
Thank you, DG sir. It's the honor's responsibility to introduce a very great personality of Dr. Nishakant Ojha, who's been an eminent artificial intelligence and machine learning and next generation technology expert. He has done his doctorate from Aalborg University in Denmark and is currently serving as an advisor for cyber aerospace securities in several Middle Eastern countries. He's aiming to bolster their defense and paramilitary capabilities. Previously, Dr. Ojha has held the position of Chief Strategic Officer at the Broadcasting Engineering Consultancy India Limited, a Government of India enterprise in the past. He has played a very crucial role in transforming the organization into a strategic public sector unit, significantly increasing its business turnover within 19 months. He also established Center for Excellence to support the Indian Army and contributed to the integrated defense services in areas like hybrid electronic warfare. He's also served as a principal advisor to Information and Technology Ministry at the diplomatic missions of the Republic of Sudan. He currently holds the position of eminent faculty for cyber, aerospace security, and counter-terrorism in the Defense Tri Services and Paramilitary Forces in India. Dr. Ojha's expertise extends to various domains, including international diplomacy, ICT, and defense. He holds certifications in cybersecurity and information systems auditing, along with a law degree specializing in information technology. Moreover, Dr. Ojha has been actively involved in diplomatic efforts, facilitating agreements like the International Solar Alliance Framework Agreement. He has advised on national security policies, particularly focusing on cybersecurity and counterterrorism measures. He has authored numerous research papers and mentored PhD students in the field of technology and business management, including senior police officers from India and many other countries. In addition to its academic and diplomatic endeavors, Dr. Ojha has played a significant role in advising on trade and bilateral issues for countries like Iraq, Somalia, Libya, Kuwait, Oman, Jordan, Tunisia, and Cambodia, to mention a few. Furthermore, he has provided operational guidance to the law enforcement agencies to achieve mission objectives in counterterrorism across various Middle Eastern countries and Western nations. He is well known as a man of strategic affairs. He has been speaker at international events on impact of investments, climate change, economical and social impacts of new technologies like blockchain. He is engaged as advisors to various world leaders and governments on macroeconomics, financial and investment policies as well. He is well connected to and advising few world leaders on the flow of events and policy change. To mention a few, he has been the guest of honor to President Barack Obama's second inaugural ball. Over to Dr. Nishakant Ojha for the continuation.
Thank you so much, sir, and I'm really grateful to CENJOWS to giving me an opportunity to come on the floor and share some of the experiences with the eminent experts and the area specialized people. And especially my special thanks to IDS, because there was a close association with the IDS for a long time. So this is the subject which I had been given to throw some lights is basically the weaponizing the climate change. To begin with, since the background is that I had been working on the counter-terrorism issues and the national security issues with the different countries, like I was closely associated with the Russian government and the different other, who are the allied countries with the government of India. There was one principle: throw mud, no war. So more mud, no war should be the principle, and what basically the China and the enemy countries are basically working on those particular things. Now, this weaponizing the climate change is very vast terminology, and it's something which has a very deep meanings. So I would take my journey of presentation into two various aspects. One is I'll talk about the diplomacy issues, the various climate. This is a new word when I was discussing with in one of the forum where the Iranian diplomat told me, "Sir, are you aware of the climate diplomacy?" I said, "This is the first time I'm understanding." Then he shared with me a lot of papers. He said, "See, this is something which is more dangerous than the warfare, the conventional warfare or the hybrid warfare." So warfare is something which is open-ended. You can change the face of the warfare in any ways you want. But the thing is that the beauty of the warfare is something that you don't, no more physical appearance, only on the virtual or by the different means for how you take over the different enemies and the different agendas which are basically beneficial for your country. So we'll cover to the climate diplomacy, and then we'll talk about the climate change, how it is used as a weapon by the different countries and how it play a pivotal role in basically overall in the totality of the national security. As a defense personnel, because I was always on the other side also, on this side also, I would always like to tell you, a defense personnel should always be in a position to understand the 360-degree gambit. He should not be only talking about the ammunition, or he should not only be talking about the war. He should understand the policies level. He should try to understand what kind of environment is prevailing so that he can just sabotage, he can just finish the enemies, whether it is in form of the adverse environment, whether it is in form of any form of the things there. So we'll just talk about with the presentation. It's a very theoretical, and then we'll talk about the strategic things, which is much more dangerous, and it will be an eye opener for all you people, so that how we can use. And as the DG CENJOWS has already told, that the warfare has changed. So I told you that it's basically the CIA was working for a long time on these missions. It's basically the climate, how to weaponize the climate change and things. And the only principle which was there, come on, no, it should be only mud. There should be no war, no ammunitions. Only you have to go by the other means. You have to destroy. That's basically how the things work. So we'll just go. Yeah, so it's a small, I'll try to wind up. I will not bore you all people, because these are things Mr. Google will be in a better position to explain you. So it's basically the climate change, weaponization of the climate change, case studies. And we'll talk something about the climate change as an election agenda, hidden risks towards cooperative approach, climate diplomacy and references. We'll go a little bit fast because we need to discuss more of those things. So basically, when we are talking about the climate change, it means a change of the climate which is attributed directly or indirectly to human activities that basically alters the composition of the global atmosphere. Now, when this is a very vague word, when we are talking about change of climate which is attributed directly or indirectly, you must have heard about the seeding of the clouds which is there. So it is also one of the very effective weapon which is used in the climate weaponization. Sometimes it plays a very pivotal role, sometimes it gives a very adverse, like there are a lot of we'll take a case study of the China PLA, who has been working on these things to the border areas of India, and how they are using these seedings to basically sabotage or disturb the national security of the country. So we'll talk about that. So it's basically as a theoretical, if you go, so it's the industrialization, then the increase of the greenhouse gases, then the CC, then consequences of the climate change. I will not go in much because I presume that most of the people understand what's the climate change, how things are moving, how is the net neutrality we are following. So it's going everywhere. Everybody is cautious about the climate change issues, but nobody is able to do a deep dissection. What basically climate change is good for the nation, it's good for the world, it's good for the society, but it should not be used as a weaponization. So, but everything is permissible in the warfare. Nothing is permissible in the warfare. So that's a principle there. So we have to safeguard our country. So it hardly means how you achieve those things in a general. So we'll talk about that. So weaponization of the climate change, it's basically weaponization of climate change sustainability agenda for political, economic, or geopolitical gain. Encourages anomalicity over power and position, risk, consequences, and complex and unpredictable politicization of the climate change, deepen global division spread. So, in China, we'll just take a journey. In 2019, China was accused of using climate change as an excuse to expand its military presence in the Arctic. We'll tell you something about Chinese, how they are using it. And according to the United States Department of Defense 2019 reports on China and military development, civilian research activities, China military presence in the Arctic, including the deployment of submarine for deterrence against nuclear threats. European Union climate change mitigation goal may be used for economic advantage and stringent regulation acting as a trade barrier. In 2021, the EU introduced the Carbon Border Adjustment, CBM. You can read it. The presentation is all yours. We'll only talk about some kind of the concrete points which basically should be an alarming bell for us. And then acquisition of the using climate change effort for geopolitical gain. Acquisition levels environmental progress for moral or technological leadership. Climate change is an election agenda. Election agenda leads to polarization on the climate change. Few research studies regarding party difference in climate. Now, one beauty, I just wanted to share you the inner side, what has happened. You know, we have got a very good relationship with the France. And this body, this International Solar Alliance was, the founding member was India and the France only. But when we got into this particular things and we started moving in more and more countries, I have seen the acceptance level of the countries, how they, if we are putting some other country at one side and India on the other side, the countries are having a very positive, vibrant about the India rather than going for the French or any other. This is, we know about France, but if India is there, something concrete will be there. So they are, now that also created a kind of inner conflict started between the France and in India. So I'm just sharing, so it should be between you. And when the Director General election started, means the tenure of the DG was getting over, and the new DG was likely to take over. The diplomacy gave it a new shape. Entire the two lobbies started working. Some were with the France and the other was with the India. And again, we were told that we need to meet each and every ambassador and we have to convince them that we are not in position to lose this particular frame ISA. Because if it is sabotaged or if it is not able to fulfill its objective, it will create a very bad image to the general perspective. And again, I just wanted to put it on record. Majority of the countries said that we will give vote for your DG. And but because we give them in a tangible form, it's nothing, we are not talking about the theory. And in fact, the two projects which the Indian government started with the Libya, in fact, there is a lot of diplomatic issue which is going between the Libyan government. But Libyan government, we were able to give them the consultancy on the 500 megawatt solar project, which is a game changer. And in fact, my association with the late CDS and the MEA in the Gulf Secretary Gulf, we have given all those reports to how to bring these countries close to the India. because see, national security is something where we cannot compromise with anything. So there was some inputs which was from that the terrorist movements is coming from the Libyan government and everything. So that was some, the mission was closed and the charge of the affair was sent back to there. But eventually things are moving, and by the time in the coming era and the coming government, the present government, I think there will be a different shape. Whole scenario will be changed. Yesterday I was on the interview and the interview person was asking, please justify. You always speak on the benefit, always on the part of the government. Your government is telling that they are showing that they are equally close to Israel. Now they have signed the Chabahar, so they are close to Iran. So where does India stand? Do they have any stand? I said, we are neutral country. So anything which is good for the society or for the world, we are going with that. So Chabar is something which is not there that we are going for some kind of a strategic. It's a general trading port which was designed and developed to be, and that, by the way, that was not sanctioned by the US. Under the sanctions which was imposed on the Tehran, Iran, this was the Chabar port was out of that particular thing. It was given because they have to promote, they have to develop the Afghanistan and different other regions. So just on that particular thing. So in countries like Canada, Germany, and the UK Conservative Party members, by the way, Germany is still trying its best to become the ISA member, and I don't know what is happening. Germany has not got the membership as still now, but the German ambassador always meets me and he says, why the hell you are not giving me the membership? I said, we need to talk. See, there are generally three principles which was there in the ISA. The country should be a solar enriched country. They should be a member of the UN, permanent member or members. They should not be observer. Third, the tropic of the Cancer and the Capricorn should pass that particular country. So that were three principles in which we wanted to do a lot of things, but eventually, like country like Tunisia or the Morocco, there was some bottleneck because the Tropic of the Cancer was not exactly passing; it was just below that. So everything they were good, but they were not getting the membership. So in fact, Israel became, and we gave the observer status to the Palestine also. So we always maintain, that's the beauty of the Indian diplomacy, which is working under the flagship of the PM Modi. We should appreciate that. So in the United States, there is a partition divide on climate. We'll go rather than hidden risk, strategic weaponization of the climate change. What kind of a strategic weaponization is there? That I will take you after this presentation. We'll discuss and share with you. Create opposition, trust and confidence, poses risk for the sustainable development, impact global security, economic stability, and social. Lead to short-sighted decision, exploiting disparities and conflict. Now, everything has a repercussion, whether it's a physical war, it's a conventional war, it's a hybrid war, like the war which is going in the Middle East between the Palestine and the Israel. Obviously, the people are migrated, they are moving towards. Now, if the people are migrating from one place to A position to B position, automatically that will create a kind of burden to the other countries, and that will directly or indirectly impact the climate change also. So we'll study that also. Towards a cooperative approach, prioritise balanced approach to climate change mitigation, ground approach in scientific evidence. And one thing I was very surprised when I was in Dubai and I was Secretary MEA, Mr. Singla was there. I want to name, he was a very nice person. He was Secretary Foreign Affairs. And we created a new code there. Code was there. I was not able, he said, Doctor, this is a new code. Now, new code who was there? Israel was there. Australia was there. Dubai was there. And basically the Saudi Arabian government was there. So we created a closed miniature of the code in that particular thing. That was the brainchild of the Secretary Foreign Affairs there. And he said that article also came in Khalij Times, and we are working. So we have to come out with a certain strategy because see, everything is for a specific agendas and objective. Social is there, social upliftment is there, social cause is there, but the problem is that the country needs to safeguard and everybody is thinking of its own economic, social, political, and other things for the promotions and the growth. So prevent manipulation. Another thing was in COP also. You are in G20 also. You are in new code. Code we have created. Now new code, what is this? The baby of the code. And ISA is there. You are in IRNA is there. You are everywhere. So what India wants to do? So that's basically the climate diplomacy. We don't want to leave anything. We want to be here, and we need to see that the country is protected from all kind of adverse reactions, and we work for the social cause for the world. We are not only concerned about the India or the allied countries. We are talking about, but the countries, we have got the evidence. We have seen that the countries are using this particular gamut and this particular environment as an adverse environment, as a weapon for us. So we need to be cautious, and that was I'm grateful to the DG Gensok that he took this topic, which is untouched. Nobody knows about that. I only came around a couple of months back. So climate diplomacy has transformed from influenced by geopolitical factors to becoming a significant influencer of geopolitical. Your COP, G7, G20, COP, UN agencies are there in 2000 global financial crisis. One thing I just wanted to tell you, whatever the initiative was taken by the India, we have become the self-sustainable model. We have not created a burden on any of the ministry in India. Initially, when ISA was created, MEA was the custodian of that. And they gave us seed money for initial 1 year. After that, we came in rotation, and now it's working fantastic. We are giving funding. We are taking the projects. I mean, not me, as of now, I'm not there, but I'm talking about the ISA, how they are playing and going in a very wider shape. And sooner or later, I think they will be in a position to have a major impact on the other organizations like IRNA and others which are there. The Paris Agreement, legally binding, adopted in 2015. This was the Paris Convention Treaty in which this ISA was formed, aims to global temperature. These, you can read it, hosted in Glasgow, in Japan, UN. I just want to, now International Solar Alliance, it's 2515, France, initially targeted 121 sun-rich countries, mainly poorer nations, expanded in 2018. You know, I was in touch with, when I was in ISA, Her Excellency from the Suriname, she came. I still remember her name, Ashna was there. I don't know whether she's there. He said, Doctor, you people are doing everything. My country is in dark. We don't have power. You know, after that, we just sent 120-foot container of the solar light lamps to Suriname. So we are there. Government of India is everywhere. And how to use. And as of now, he says, you know, in Suriname, every person is grateful to International Solar Alliance or Government of India, because when they lighten their lamp, they remember you every day. This is how we have created the footprints in that particular region, in Caribbean island, in the Central Africa, and all those things. So geopolitical gain expected in Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, we have created, and now there is a regional ISA chapter which has been created in all these countries. So because operating from International Solar Alliance headquarters from Gurgaon is very tedious job, and they have got a limited basically manpower also. So the French people are also there, and the Indian people are there. They are working together. I mean, they have created a chapter, and they have told those countries to volunteer some agencies to take over the charge and start working on that. So they do, and they report to the headquarters, and that's how basically they are able to cultivate. So it's like moving forward. As of now, the 119 countries have signed the ISF framework agreement, and 98 countries have signed and ratified the ISF framework agreement. So it's on the record. As of my knowledge, till I left the ISA. IRNA is there. You can read it. It was the headquarters is based in Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi. So sorry, Abu Dhabi, not Saudi Arabia. And this is basically all the Middle East countries, and even India is one of the member of this IRNA. and officially formed in 26 January 2000 in Bonn, Germany, and Abu Dhabi, when the agency became full-time international organization. Total member is 169. That started a conflict. They said that we have same objective, same vision, same mission, same protocol. Why there is a need? But we have to come up. We cannot let them dictate how they want to dictate. So, and ADB, the German Development Bank, they already are in touch with the ISA and they are giving huge fund for everything. So total member is 178 as of now, 1973, and 18 rectification were required to bring the ISA statute into force on 29 July 1957. You would have seen that the PM Modi, in most of the speech, he always talk about ISA and International Solar Alliance, because it is its dream project. And now they have started doing something in the research, also research and development, where they are trying to nurture the solar energy within the orbits, within the atmosphere only. They will nurture, they will store, and they will then pass it to the respective power generators or the storage devices, and from there it can be used. That is the call which they are working on that. COP, 28 in Dubai was the largest UN climate change conferences. Over 85,000 attendees, including 150 head of state, took place from November 30 to December. So everybody is playing its own role and game. So it's something which is there. It's known as a climate diplomacy, because if everybody has to have a strong footprints and mandate and control of that particular region. So, and even, but the only the challenges which is happening is that there is no law which is there, which can control, like I'll just move, and because I think we've got, so 12. So COP28, US and China tension, geopolitical and political trends significantly impact the UN climate summit. China and US attitudes crucial for progress due to their status as top emitters and green energy innovators. Both countries hold potential for climate finance for less developed nations. Antagonistic relationship between China and the US pose challenge to climate cooperation, failure to act as a damaged diplomatic reputation among nations most vulnerable to climate impact. Beijing efforts to improve US relations aligned with the renewal focus on climate change. COP28 outcome highlights the importance of geopolitical harmony for climate, concern raised for rising trade and technologies. Potential conflicts such as Taiwan could disrupt climate. Future climate advance hinge on the stability in the continuous US-China relationship. No doubt, you will hear very soon that the tension is prevailing. It's going in a very high way, and there can be a severe repercussion of this tension, and might be there can be some kind of war which can initiate, because it's going very, very, very deep and very tight, which is happening. And the recent the two basically the power centric which is now happening, the West and the Middle East, which is happening now, Iran, the Russia and the China, they are working very closely. I just wanted to place one thing. I want to inform you that I know, because I had been working there. Even they have developed the joint aircraft manufacturing consortium. So the last mile dependency on the Boeing and the Airbus has been gone, finished. So I was discussing with the Iranian ambassador. I said, what is the need of this joint aircraft manufacturing consortium? He said, doctor, I am the manufacturer of the aircraft. It is flying in my environment. Why the hell I need to take the permission and the standardization certificate from the Boeing? But what is happening that even if you do manufacture, you have to take the certification from the Boeing until it start flying in the atmosphere. So they have created their own standardization body. The China, Iran, and Russia, and things will change. India, they were trying to pull India, but India subsequently has moved away from there. They have not gone. But there was very, you can say, tight pressure on the Indian diplomatic circle to come on that particular board. Even there was a lot of meetings which was held with the HAL, and after that the call was taken by them that we can go, because somewhere we need to have a neutral approach. directly or indirectly, we have to safeguard the nation things. So Beijing efforts, you have seen, G20, has evolved significantly. Its 2008 Pittsburgh Summit declaration is the premise for a global economic forum. Originally focused on the crisis management, financial G20, recent New Delhi by G20, India emphasizes consensus building on multilateral global. India approach to G20 provides insight into geopolitical vision and priority. The G20 plays a crucial role in shaping the future of the global economic cooperation and governance. There was a lot of good questions and the buzz which was there. Why there was so much expenditure done for the G20 event which was here? So it is not an event. It was a strategic move which needs to be taken very seriously. And a message should be communicated to the entire world that yes, we Indians are not far behind. We are actively involved in that particular things. We are more concerned about things. That's how you can play a diplomacy role in these particular things. So G20 in India, you can see, you can read from the climate change, national clean energy, BRICS collaboration, India, Brazil, South Africa support, India global collaboration aids in democratic foster consensus, China recognition, New Delhi summit succeeds for emerging power balance, China pragmatic approach indicates potential for constructive engagement, and so on. So this is reference. I just wanted to tell you one thing. Now let's go something about the real problem statement which is there. When we are talking about, most of the people do ask, is there any evidence that weather has been weaponized and put to use? That's one of the questions which basically comes. So, I mean, if, I'm not talking about anything which is very mysterious or very discreet and which is only the file, toxic, but which is open in the domain. So in turn, the US military were made for weaponizing weathers, and it was one of the most notorious and unpopular wars in the American history. Basically, the project was inspired by the idea suggested during the Project Storm Fury. Was a weather project in which planes dropped silver iodide into hurricanes. And the hypothesis was that since silver iodide was hydroscopic, it attracts water. So dumping a whole bunch of it into the hurricane would cause the formation of ice crystal. If enough formation occurred, the hurricane would get weakened and weakened. So the military learned that if they use silver iodide on certain clouds, these clouds could produce lots of rain, drought, and would damage the entire road and infrastructure which is there. And it will create a kind of a strategic road towards the enemy countries and or the targeted countries. So this is one of the which is on the record. I mean, today this would be illegal, but this would violate special law that provides the weaponizing of the weathers. Now, the question of the climate change versus global, I've written some questions which basically comes to my mind why I'm going to this end of the presentation. What is the relevance? I'm an armored person, I'm an Air Force person. Why is it? This is basically for think tanks. You need to understand how the weaponization is happening. It's only not for with the guns or the motors or the missiles. It is found here. I told you. Why I always appreciate the Israelis? Because they fought in a hybrid warfare. They are least concerned about the convention. Gone are the days. Machines and the concepts of fighting. Conceptual warfare is happening. I understand your things and basically I'm able to sabotage you. So this is something. Now we are talking about the could climate change worsen global conflict? As of me, absolutely yes, because it is already there. As the climate warms, sea level will rise. It has already risen, and that's the reason basically this net neutrality and everything has gone. The human have started discharging huge amount of CO2, which will play a very adverse role in basically the environment. And most of the important cities in the world will be increasingly threatened as the sea level rises another foot and then the 2 feet and so on. Countries like Bangladesh and Florida and New York will lose. But I would like to tell you there is India is also one of the countries which will be impacted. So we cannot overrule. And that's basically we need to understand. So the question, the third question, I'm just giving you as in capsules, basically to conceptualize this presentation. Now, the third question which will come to my mind as in defense personnel or the policy makers, how can climate change heal future wars? So there are a couple of major conflicts which is there, and there is evidence from 2007 to 2015. Draft continued to float in Syria because Syria I have visited, and there was how this climate weaponization played a very pivotal role and very important role in impacting the Syria, can say the country of Syria. It was the worst draft in the instrumental record, causing widespread crop failure and mass migration of farming families to urban sectors. So this is even in the open source, and it is cited. It is a lot of citations are done for this particular case study about the Syria. And as the climate warms, the sea level will rise. The cost of raising the land, infrastructure, and existing building by importing fill from other area would be astronomical. So for the most of the part, area will be abandoned. Where will these people go? That's a question mark. And this, if you directly relate to the war which is going between the Israel and the Palestine, this is similar, which is going. Moving now. There were lands which was basically on the which was occupied by the Israel, so which was under the you can say observations of the Israel, but there was no development which is happening. The land has gone barren. So people are moving. Lands is basically moving. So when the people move, this immigration it will create some kind of directly or indirectly links with the climatic change also, and it will create a lot of burden also for the countries. So the wealthy people will go to the higher land, average people and poor people will suffer the most. I'm giving you the micro level which is there. So I'll just talk about this. Now, the question is that how climate change could impact international security and peace. So one of the peculiarity of the climate change is that it is not going to impact the whole world uniformly. Some countries will be badly affected, where some countries will be actually benefited from the climate change also. From tropical countries like India will be impacted by the climate change very, very seriously. So according to the report, which is on the United Nations Environmental, the overall cost of the climate change on the healthcare in India can go up to $3 trillion. So the developed countries in the West, such as US, the European Union, won't be affected so much to that extent because they are in the temperature zones countries and they have money and technology. That's the reason why these forums, these bodies were created and these associations were created. I told you, I gave one example that the ISA, beyond the policy making, they have entered into a kind of research and development also. And they are trying to nurture and freeze more and more energy within the atmosphere from the orbit, and then use it for the strategic purpose or whatever is their mandate. So, you know, the potable water is also less than 1%. I was reading in one of the journals that there is no conventional war, there is no hybrid war, there is no tactical war, there is a water war which will happen and it will finish that. So the maritime issue is also one of the areas where we need to be studying all of these things very seriously. And if you see, it is all sooner or later it's going. So still not go much on that. Then the climate can climate change cause military problem? That's one of the points which I have taken. Climate change is already exacerbating the global security problem, and it could even cause more military problems in the future. Climate change can increase the risk of conflict by making it harder for the people to get food and water, damaging infrastructure and causing mass migration. It can also worsen natural disasters, which can create a humanitarian crisis and disrupt supply chains. The military may be called on to respond to this problem, and it could be used to create a new base to protect oil and gas supplies. What Sir has told in the beginning and cited one example of the Russia and Ukraine war, which is happening. So, if you see in the totality at the macro level, it is happening. But we need to sense those things in a very serious way and to start working on it. These things are not, the Indian government is not full to just create so much expenses on the International Solar Alliance and start working on these things. There is a need for that. If they don't think today, future will not think of them. So they have to come. That's the reason they are getting into all kind of diplomacy, green energy, climatic change, the water diplomacy, everything. They are coming in on all the ways. I just wanted to discuss about the China. That's my favorite subject. Always had work. I've got 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know, but I think this forum and this group, this particular body is much more knowledgeable than me, understanding the China and a lot of think tanks which are working. But if you see the Chinese announcement to develop a large-scale weather modification system by 2025 is something which is very, very alarming, especially for the neighboring countries. See, it's not the matter of the India. Chinese is, okay, we have got a certain reservation with China. We have got certain relationships. We have got some kind of a, you can say, tug-of-war relationship with the China. But China is not only thinking about India. He wants to become a superpower in that particular region. That's why he's going everywhere. In fact, last time when I met the minister of Iran, I was talking to him. He asked me about the Chabahar. And I said, I'm clueless because it's not my decision that I can give you the permission to start operating the Chabahar port. It's the Ministry of External Affairs and certain intelligence agencies are there. You need to, there's certain machineries which basically come in consensus and they basically give the final decision whether to go about or not. He said, Doctor, the only thing is that you people are thinking too long. So I said, what? Because the China already has put a lot of cranes and machinery has been deployed on the Chabahar. And sooner or later, if you don't take a call, you tell your people. If they don't take a call, we have to run our economy. We cannot wait for 10 years, 5 years, 7 years. We'll go ahead. So I'm giving you the factual words which was spoken by the, and in fact, I want to place on the, this is my family. I have visited Chabahar. I visited thrice in Tehran. I visited Chabahar and seen with my naked eyes. I visited the Caspian Sea. I work very closely with the Iranian government to bring and mobilize these things. So, in fact, in that particular thing, I tried my best. And at that time, I was having the full support of my late CBS there. We selected, we even flagged that thing to the NSCS, NSA office, MEA, and everything. And I'll tell you what we have done. This is known as diplomacy. We have not taken the Chabahar. We have taken the 4 airport from the Chabahar city. It is not in the news. We have already signed. The paper is in there. It will come sooner or later. That is known as diplomacy. You are talking about one port. We have taken the entire city. And those airports will be developed and constructed by the airport authority. Like Gwaza airline, the railway track is given, the order has been given to Aircon. There is a Mapna group there. Given to Mapna, Mapna has given to Aircon. So that is also getting in. So we need to think like that. It's not that the government is not doing anything. Government is doing anything, but it's not visible. It will come just like one day, pop up, and everything will be clear. And they are doing very strategically. So I've got the sanction paper with me. There is no, I mean, all the things are sanctioned for Tehran, except for this Chabahar. It is exempted. It was under the regime of Donald Trump. Yes, okay, no sanction is basically on the Chabahar. They can develop, maintain for India, only for India. If China comes, so that's the diplomacy and the strategic diplomacy which Indians plays. So this the things are working. Now we are talking about China has been. I was in Nepal just a couple of days, and there was a China investor meet. I think it was on the 1st of May last this month. And in fact, I was working very closely. My forte was only for the Middle East and West Asia, but somebody from the agency told me that Dr. Please do something for the Nepal. And I started digging out for the Nepal. I went there. I started working. I found Chinese everywhere. They have penetrated there. They have rebuilding the roads. They are building everything, hospitals, and you won't believe in the China. So this was not China investor meet. China, I had given the name. It was investor meet, Nepal investor meet. But the beauty, the thing was that there was around 79 companies which came from the China and 2 companies from the India. And we, I mean, as of our strategy, we were able to, at least 2 companies were there, but one we got it signed in the data center. So that was investment of 300 crores, something which will be there in due course. But I'm telling you how they are moving. They are moving in a very, strategically. When I was in Sudan, the Sudanese used to tell me, we don't want to work with the Chinese. I said, what's the reason? They give you a lot of money. They'll say, doctor, they come, they show you a lot of lucrative things, they give you money, and then take you everything from you. They move. And then you become a slave, they become the master. This is what is happening. Even in the Caribbean island, in the Latin America's small country island, they have invested. They are giving money like this. That needs to be identified. So if you are able to send 120-foot container of solar lamps, and we are able to catch hold of that particular island, they can play a pivotal role in the UN things there. Yeah, Security Council. So we should not leave. But now they are thinking. So let's talk and round it up about the China. So according to the State Council circular, the total area of the artificial rain snowfall operation will reach beyond 5.5 million square kilometer, and for hail suppression it should go beyond 580,000 square kilometers by 2025. What's on record by the Chinese. Now, weather modification technology is basically an integral part. If you have gone through the strategic, the people, PLA strategic vision and mission and objective, this weather modification technology is an integral part of China's aspiration to be recognized as a technological superpower. And it's trying to arrive at a worldwide advanced level in terms of operation, technologies, and services by 2030. Time. And why I'm giving you the year? They are not giving 50 years, 40 years, 20 years. Everything is calculated and time bound now. Dynamics have changed. Entire geopolitical sphere has changed. Nobody can predict anything. When this Russian-Ukraine war started, I was in touch with the defense people there. And the defense person from Russia, they said, I asked him, sir, you have moved and how long it will? We have calculated everything. By 15 days, we will take over Ukraine. This was official statement of the defense minister of Russia the day they invaded Ukraine. See how many years have passed now. It's going. You cannot predict anything. So where they are moving, what kind of things they are doing, like Gaza and this Palestine war is something like that. It's going like that. It was to be Israelis that will finish it off. But still they are not able to find the Hamas there. So they are just cleaning up everything. So one day when they will clean everything, they will put a bottleneck and then the Hamas has to come out from the tunnel. So I am just telling you because things are moving in that particular thing. Iran attacked on Israel with some drones. Officially, it was told there was no impact, but there were severe impacts. So I'm just telling that nothing is secured, everything is secured. You are working on the short edge as of now. As an Indian, we need to maintain the sovereignty and the country very, very seriously because China is moving in a different level. We did one operation, I did it, and that was put it on the DCI record also. We did one operation against PLA in 2020. And we were able to sabotage the server, but they bounced back to us and our whole laptop was touched. So I'm just checking, see, we should not underestimate those people, how they are moving. And this is something, climate diplomacy, this is untouched. Nobody is talking. I'm grateful to the DG that he has taken this particular topic into the warfare. It needs to be told to people how they are using. I told you that they are using the artificial intelligence, artificial rainfall. If they are able to disturb the roads, infrastructure, everything, they are able to create a dense forest on the neighboring areas, on the border areas, it will create a problem for me. Because they are the architect, they are the cultivator of that particular framework. They know each and everything, but we don't know anything because the forest has been artificially created by the climate. So these are something which needs to be there. Now, whether modification has been used not only by other countries like US and India, India is also using, but they are using for a legitimate purpose. They have never used India, हमारे लिए मानव सेवा सबसे बड़ी सेवा. But everything has positive and negative aspects. Even that cell, the battery होती है ना, उसमें plus or minus होता है. जब तक वो दोनों नहीं लगेंगे, वो charge नहीं होता है. So this is always there. Everything has two coins, positive side and destructive side. You have to see which side you have to take and balance those. So, but for India, we don't have anything which is, they have started using this particular technology and a tactical way or some kind of strategy. In fact, the geopolitical and the security implications are deeply embedded in the seas, which requires to probe, analyze, and action upon internationally. US is very much, concerned about this particular thing for which China has started. And for the matter of us, even China dam building activities in the Tibetan plateau have raised many people's eyebrows. China plans to build over 50 dams in Tibet or river they have targeted by 2027. Including the Brahmaputra and Mekong rivers are being looked at with suspicion and present by the countries. So, Gilgit, you can read Indian claims in this region. Just want to give you solid points, which is there. Now, China weather modification threaten more and major children for countries such as India, where huge swatches of population are dependent on the river that flow from the Tibetan plateau. What complicates issue further is the geopolitical context. For instance, amidst India-China clashes the Galwan Valley and continuing border tension, China allies attempt to alter the Galwan River and potentially create flash floods to disrupt Indian infrastructure project and military deployments, which needs to be addressed and looked very seriously for the diaspora. And with the think tanks, we are working in this kind of particular domain. China Mammoth weather modification program is not something which is just come as a surprising. That was revealed. It was revealed a few years ago, and deployment plans. And there is things which is there for instance, cloud seeding is one of the tools which they are using. And it's not cloud seeding, it's basically, I would say, it's a cloud stealing rather than calling it by cloud seeding. But also the environment and health effects of the silver iodide particles as well as the effectiveness of the technologies. Geoengineering, like any other technology, attains the meaning that the country assigns to it. In light of the adversarial relationship between India and China, it becomes critical to determine if such technology may be militarized at some point of time. Yesterday, I was telling sir that I was with General Khandare, and we were talking a lot about this geoengineering. He educated me on these particular things. We started talking about geoengineering and everything. So this is something which we need to understand is working on those particular things. The notion of the militarization of the geoengineering get further fueled because of the involvement of the Chinese, such as China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation, a major space and defense contractor in the Tenaya project, cutting-edge military rocket engine technology and satellite, which is there. So, a lot of things are there. Just to concluding remarks, many countries, including the US, China, and India, have ratified the Convention on the Provision of the Military or any other hostile use of environmental protection technique, enforcing compliance and establishing. I gave you one example of China, but it's not only about the China which needs to be put into inverted comma. It's hell of the other countries which are there. So countries, I gave you an example of the US CIA, the father and mother of everything. They started everything. So it was basically the brainchild of the CIA and the FBI which started a long time back. And now you see that countries have started using. Only concerned about the China, why I have taken the citation of the China is something that the Chinese, which the program which they have come, they have given the time bound in a time bound manner. In the time bound manner, which is striking. 2 years, 4 years, it's something which needs to be taken in consideration. It needs to be start digging out. Means partially it gives a feeling that they already have moved a large more step forward and they are at the edge of completing this particular thing. So this is something which is tough. So in totality, I've given you the climate diplomacy, which is there, and the national security issues, which is there, which needs to be clubbed together. So because diplomacy indirectly or indirectly, it always come and get embedded with the national security of the country. So it's always there.